House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
Hello, greetings, salutations, and warm Hoffaday greetings to everybody watching House to Home. One of us is at the KRM Studios in Harmon. One of us is at Remax Diamond Realty in Nagana, and one of us is in the Valley of the Sun. So Liz Duenas is traveling, our global jet setter, racking up a ton of frequent flyer miles, and very deservedly so. So, ladies, Hoffaday, we are going to talk today and completing the circuit, completing the life cycle of what it means to apply for a loan. Last week, of course, we talked about the pre-qualification process. We're going to wrap it up all today. But before we get to that, I wanted to give you guys like a pop quiz, and you guys are learned veteran experts of this wonderful industry. I wanted to ask you something. I heard an urban myth today about real estate, right? Apparently, there's a superstition if you are either buying or if you're selling your home that you bury a statue of Saint Joseph in the front of your home, and that's a blessing that will actually make for the buyer. And so, okay, Gina, please.
She's got it in her hand.
Gina, please tell me how this whole thing started. Because Viva San Jose, first of all, and yes, and how does that actually make the process go smoother?
Is it you call it a myth? Is it a myth or a belief, right? But yeah, I have to tell you, I have experience in that.
Really? Please, I would love to hear this. I'm all ears.
I mean, maybe it's just a belief, I mean, some Christians really do believe, and maybe some non-Christians too, because I heard of another realtor doing this, and I don't believe she was a Christian, but yeah, they believe that if you bury the statue, if you're having a difficult time moving your property or the homeowner themselves, and you bury the statue upside down. I don't know why upside down, mind you. I never looked that up, right, Liz? I never personally looked that up, but that it would facilitate, that you will sell the home quicker, or at least sell the home, right? Sometimes you just want to sell the home. It's not quick anymore. You just want to get it sold.
Liz, do you know?
I have to tell you, I did try it. I tried it.
Mm-hmm. And did it?
And I asked the owner. I did ask the owner for permission, because I wasn't sure how he would take it. I didn't know what he would think. So I asked him for permission. We were having a difficult time selling his home. That it was a while ago, and he was moving to the States. So towards the end, I got, I started to think, okay, maybe I should try this. It wouldn't hurt. I've tried everything else. And so I went down to the cathedral, to their shop there that Tim Rohr used to run, and I bought it. In fact, I bought a couple, and I used both. But yeah, I took it promptly to the home, and I told the owner, hey, I'm going to do this. And he had already given me permission. So I buried it, and he helped me. And yeah, lo and behold, it sold. So
wow. Okay,
yeah.
so, and Liz I Googled it, and I read something. Apparently, this is a thing, and many people talk about this online, but I wanted to verify, with experts like yourself. Apparently, it's also, there's a mutual thing too. So for the buyer and the seller, San Jose also blesses the transaction.
Yeah, I mean, like Gina says, I've done it as well. In fact, I think in my toolbox, I have a few extra ones, but I've done it, and the property does move. Not quite sure what the background is on it, but it is something that we have done. And it's really interesting, though, because the property has moved. But again, I haven't done it in a while. So Gina, thanks for reminding me. I got to do that with some of my other properties that I'm selling.
I wonder if Saint Joseph is like the patron saint of homes, or or of a residence, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, he's a patron saint of, he's a carpenter, right? And so
was his
home. Son. Yeah, but I think after this we should look it up, because I haven't looked that up in a long time. How about you, Gina? I always feel guilty when I pray for real estate transactions. I try to do it my last resort, only if the family absolutely needs it. Because I always feel like I should be praying for other things, not my work. But if family really needs it, then yeah, I'm gonna, and it's because I wonder if it's because we believe so much that it just, how they say you believe and it happens.
Yep.
Well, there's a belief of the power in prayer. Yeah.
And like they say, that is the mystery of faith.
Right, okay, that's correct.
And thank you both for confirming this. And like if you're out there and you are experiencing difficulties with your real estate transaction, first give Liz and Gina a call or any of their colleagues at Remax Diamond Realty Guam. Second, you okay, and it's the statue of Saint Joseph, right? Not like a candle. The other thing I gotta say, I mean, my late grandmother on my dad's side, right? Like, God rest Nana's soul, right? If she ever saw me trying to like bury a candle or a statue of any of the saints, I would not be able to sit down for a month. She would have let me have it. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be trying that, but yeah, that is a wonderful thing. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so pop quiz passed with flying colors by both of you. Now, on to the business at hand and everything. We are now completing the final phase, right, Gina? About getting the home of your dreams and completing the loan application process. So where are we on that tool chain?
Well, I always explain to my customers when you go into the bank, there's two parts of that loan process. There's qualifying you, which always is first. I think the first couple of weeks, if you turn in all your documents that we went over last week, if you turn all of those things in along with your application and your payment to apply for the loan, you should really be receiving word within 2 to 3 weeks. If you haven't received your loan approval within 2 to 3 weeks, there is something going on. You need to actually talk to your loan officer and find out, okay, what's happening? What's stalling the loan process? Because most buyers only have 60 days. So if you're using 2 to 3 weeks to get the loan approval after that, so the first part is getting you approved. The second part is getting the home approved. So you can't move on to the second part unless you've completed that first part. So be vigilant. If your loan officer hasn't given you that loan approval in 2 to 3 weeks, something's missing or something came up or something's going on with the loan officer. Either way, you got to find out, get it moving.
So Liz, where do we go to ascertain that information? So like Gina said, we got to find out who we find out from.
Well, what we normally do is we do our follow-ups as well. So if you have a good agent or broker, what we do is we contact the bank, the loan officer, and say, hey, did you get everything? What are you missing? And then we kind of are the glue that holds the transaction together by contacting the buyer to say, hey, you're missing this document. You didn't turn in this document. You need to get it in order to get, the processing to continue. And then the other thing is making sure they paid for the appraisal, because the appraiser, once you get your loan approved, they won't send the appraiser out until your different fees are paid up front. So we're kind of like the orchestra that just does this, and hey, we're missing that, put it together, get that. So of course, we need the buyer's approval to kind of run interference to make sure everything is in place. That's our typical day-to-day job in making sure we meet the deadlines, because just bear in mind, your purchase document does have contingencies for the sale, and the contingency would be subject to approval, subject to inspection, but there are windows of time during the contractual period that those things have to be completed. Now, for example, if there's something that's not in order in your inspection, but you didn't raise the flag before the end of your contingency period, it's kind of like you've already accepted it. So you can't, at that point, your deposit would be considered non-refundable if you change your mind.
Gina, what's kind of alarming to me, right, coming into this information is so as a potential buyer, I'm not proactively informed that there is something that's stalling the process and everything like that. I basically just have to keep my ear to the track, as they say, and basically if it's coming up on that 60-day window and I haven't already been approved and everything like that, then do I really need to get into worry mode? But I definitely have to contact you and find out what's up.
On the third week, you should be in worry mode if you have not already received your loan approval. So because if step 1 is approving you and step 2 is approving the house, then you're not, that appraisal report, they're not going to order it until you've already been approved. So, and Liz is right. We orchestrate everything. I know, and Liz knows in advance what's missing, because we're constantly following up with your loan officer. So that's one of the things we do when we work with you, is we ask you to give your loan officer permission so that we can do your running around. We understand you're busy working. Our job is to work for you. So we're the ones in the background calling the loan officer saying, hey, it's already week 2. What are you missing that you haven't given us that loan approval? And if they have your permission to talk to us and they'll say, Gina, we're missing ABC, then I'm on my text to you because I know you're busy. You're not going to be able to take my phone call. I text you, hey, do you want me to come down and pick up ABC? Because I can come down, pick it up, and drop it off to the lender. And we do that all the time, whether it's myself or my assistant or Liz or her assistant. But we find a way to get those things in so that we could go from phase 1, getting you approved, to phase 2, getting the house approved. And in the bank's mind, getting the house approved is doing that appraisal report. They have to know that what you committed to pay is that it's worth that the value of the home is worth it based on the appraisal report. And that takes about 2 to 3 weeks also. So start adding up the timelines in a 60-day window, 2 to 3 weeks to get you approved, 2 to 3 weeks to get that appraisal report. You don't have a whole lot of time to get your escrow documents in order, have the attorney prepare the loan documents. So yeah, we're vigilant about keeping you on schedule.
So Liz, just because I've got the purchase agreement in hand and submitted, that doesn't mean I can, kick back and put my feet up and say, okay, I'm just going to wait for the money to flow in and wait for you to hand me the keys. I've still got work.
Well, that's right. And while the process is going on in waiting for the loan approval and getting all the documentation in place, the other thing is to order your home inspection, and that could be done tandemly while you're waiting for your appraisal. So your inspection report is important because, when they discovered issues that need to be handled, those things need to be discussed. Once you get your report in order, then you want to send that, have a discussion with the seller that, hey, we found 10 deficiencies or 20 deficiencies that need to be corrected. And a discussion has to take place between the buyer and the seller, or at least between the agents, to discuss, well, will Mr. Seller take care of ABCD? And if the seller says no, then we have to go back and forth and have a discussion. And of course, certain items are dependent on what was placed in the purchase agreement. So for example, if it states the property is being sold in as-is condition, but yet there are contractual government issues with the building, we still have to have that discussion and go over that with both buyer and seller. So these are important things that could run tandemly while you're waiting for your loan approval. And bear in mind, there is a timeline. You have to conform within the timelines. Now, even though you have a certain timeline and you need an extension, then again, a discussion where Gina and I do the same thing, have a discussion that we need an extension for this particular contingency because we need more time. So again, those have to be documented and have both parties sign and approve them.
Okay. How about, Gina, in a case where everything worked perfectly, like as designed, no flaws, no setbacks, no road bumps, no blockages, whatever like that. Everything was squared away, ducks in a row and everything. Third phase is going really, really well. What should I do as the buyer to now wait for this transaction to finally be completed?
Okay, so if you're prepping, the appraisal came in, no worries, everything is good to go. At this point, if you have the appraisal report already, you should take that appraisal report and start shopping for your homeowner's insurance policy. The bank's going to want that placed before you actually do the closing. You should already have conversations about how much money is it going to, how much do you need to bring to escrow to close this transaction? And you should go ahead and coordinate all of that, because sometimes if you need to transfer money, that's a difficult thing, right? These days, everything is it takes a little bit more work. So if your appraisal report came out, your inspection's good to go, you're just waiting for the closing, those are the things you need to be mindful of. Get your insurance in place. So you take that appraisal report, you call some of your insurance companies, or maybe you're already working with somebody, get the quote, turn that over to the bank because the bank's going to need that. And then at that point, you should be talking to your agent and finding out, okay, how much do I need to prep to bring to closing?
Which makes perfect sense, Liz, because why is a reputable bank going to give me a certified cashier's check for 6 digits if I haven't even insured the place that I'm trying to buy, right?
Correct.
That's correct. So the escrow company will give you a settlement statement, and in the settlement statement, it'll give you a breakdown of what fees that so you have monies available right when you're ready to close. So it'll reflect your title insurance, it'll reflect your recording fees, it'll reflect your escrow fees. It'll have everything broken down so that you'll need to know how much money's to bring at close of escrow. Now, the bank, of course, will have a certain amount that they take care of. But again, as a buyer, you have to cover certain other expenses as well, and it'll be broken down in your settlement statement.
Mm-hmm. I never realized how detailed the process was. And normally I get really, really nervous about this kind of thing because I'm just, I'm neurotic and paranoid by nature. But I actually feel a lot better knowing what steps are part of the process, and then knowing what I can expect, and also knowing my relationship with you guys as my agents.
You've got us, Jace.
Ace.
Okay, let's go look for a home now. I'm ready to move in. And now I know how much I'm going to have as far as collateral and money in the bank. I know how long it's going to take. I know how long I'm going to have to work with the lenders and with you guys, and I know how much paperwork I'm going to have. So I actually, this is the big win for me, is you guys have not only given me peace of mind, you've given me confidence about this whole transaction is going to work. And
Liz and I have this philosophy: there's a solution for every problem, but ideally you need to be open with us so we understand what your particular problem is, and from there we'll find a solution.
There you go. Okay, final question before I let you you ladies go. I was just talking about paperwork, right? This is a fair amount of documents that you will need to store these like somewhere. What do you guys recommend as far as people having, like their loan agreement and the insurance agreement and the purchase agreement, everything? You're going to have to store that someplace secure, and probably for a very long time. So what do you guys recommend as far as storage?
Well, what I would recommend is they have a binder, and in that binder, you have all your documentation on the purchase, because a year later, you're going to need to file, your taxes and stuff. So in that binder, you'll have all your documentation that will show what you've paid, what your settlement statement, because that's what your tax person will ask you. So if you have a binder and you collect all the real estate related property information in that binder, it's easy for you to go back to it. I know Gina taught me way back about having this accordion folder that you put all your taxes, all your stuff, and she's very meticulous about handling that sort of thing. So she kind of got me hooked on making sure I've got all the documentation for the tax person. So your purchase of your home is another critical document that your tax person will ask you about.
Well, Gina, this is the one thing that I have no problem with, because believe it or not, I'm so again, paranoid about this stuff. I've still got the loan agreement for the first car I bought in 1992.
Oh my goodness,
I've got that
Jace.
story.
I think we have a solution for that too.
It's called PDF.
Exactly.
Scan. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is a wonderful episode. I mean, we've learned so much, and we're wrapping it up all here. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please call Liz, please call Gina, please call anyone at RE/MAX Diamond Realty. They're all as nice as these two. I'm kind of partial to these two because we were working together so long, and they really are this nice in real life, and their smiles really are that bright when you see them in person or on Zoom. And so let's try. Gina, can you hold up that statue of St. Joseph once more that you just have
I got this from our parish, so
and of course St. Joseph's Church is down in Irahan. They recently had their fiesta. So Biba Inalahan, Biba San Jose.
Isn't that interesting? She conveniently had that statue, and you did a pop quiz about St. Joseph, and she had it.
It was meant to be. Maybe people needed to hear that. Yeah, it really does work. Have faith.
St. Joseph has definitely blessed this episode too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
hey,
so
we are believers.
there you go. We do believe. And Liz, we do believe you're going to have a safe journey home. So we look forward to seeing you once you're back on.
Absolutely. I miss her already.
Hey, wow.
the duo.
There you go. The trio, the tripod. I'm on.
That's right.
I'm in on this too, man. Okay. Have a wonderful trip.
House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.